You have the nerve to stand at my gate. After everything.
Good afternoon, Ma. I am not here to argue.
You think because you have money now you can come here and do what? Tell me, what exactly are you here to do?
I am here to collect my keys. The property transfer was completed this morning. This house belongs to me now.
What did you say?
Every page is signed. Every stamp is official. You have 72 hours to remove your belongings.
This is not possible. This cannot be happening.
5 years ago, you stood at this same gate and told me I was nothing, that I would never amount to anything, that my child would be born into suffering. Do you remember those words, Ma?
Amara!
I remember every single one of them. And I want you to know, they were the reason I never stopped.
The rain was still falling when Amara picked up her suitcase. Not the dramatic kind that announces itself with thunder. The quiet, steady, relentless kind. The kind that soaks through everything and gives you no reason to run because running will not help anymore. The ground at the gate of the Okeke mansion was already muddy. Her suitcase sat in a thin puddle near the guard post. She had placed it there herself because when they told her to leave, she had not thrown it in anger. She had carried it out with both hands and set it down carefully, the way you set something down when you are determined not to fall apart in front of people who want you to fall apart. She was 5 months pregnant. She was 23 years old. She had nowhere to go. She looked back once at the house. Chinedu was standing near the front door, not moving, not speaking, not coming toward her. His hands in his pockets, his eyes somewhere between her face and the ground. She had loved that man. She had believed every word he said. And now he was standing 30 meters away, watching her be thrown out into the rain, finding somewhere inside himself the ability to do nothing. She looked at him one last time. "Is this what you choose?" she asked. Her voice did not shake. Chinedu lowered his eyes and said nothing. That silence hurt more than every insult. Mrs. Okeke was cruel. She had always known that. But Chinedu had promised to be different. Promises broken in silence are the ones that take the longest to stop hearing. Amara picked up her suitcase. She walked through the gate. She did not look back again. She had come to the Okeke household 5 years earlier with nothing but a small travel bag and the kind of hope that has not yet been tested. Her father was dead, her mother was sick, her younger siblings were hungry. At 23, she desperately needed work, and when the position came through a woman in her church, she believed God had answered her prayers. She worked harder than anyone asked. She was up before 5 every morning. She cooked, cleaned, ran errands, cared for guests, and never complained. Mrs. Okeke praised her to visitors. The staff respected her. Everything was fine. Until the youngest son came home. Chinedu had just returned from university in Abuja. He was charming without trying to be. He treated the household staff like human beings, which in a house like that was not as common as it should have been. He learned names, he said thank you and meant it. He came to the kitchen one afternoon and told Amara that whatever she was cooking smelled wonderful and that she fed the house well. And she almost stopped walking because nobody had ever said that to her before. They became friends, then something more. He told her he was falling in love with her. She told him his family would never accept it. He said his family did not need to accept it first. She did. The rest he would handle. She believed him. When she found out she was pregnant, she told him on the 5th day. He held her and said, "I will marry you. I love you. We will tell them together." They did not tell them together. Chinedu told his parents alone. She heard it from the noise that followed. Mr. Okeke's voice through the walls, Mrs. Okeke's voice rising above it, words like maid and trap and never. Then Mrs. Okeke appeared in the kitchen doorway and looked at Amara with a contempt so cold it was almost impressive. She said Amara had planned everything, that the pregnancy was strategy, not love, that no child of hers would be trapped by a housemaid with an agenda. Mr. Okeke appeared once, looked at Amara, said, "You should have known better," and walked away. Amara looked for Chinedu. She needed him to come through that door. He did not come. She found him in the corridor near the back staircase. He could not look at her directly. He said they were upset. He said they needed time. He said give him a few weeks. And as she listened, she understood with a clarity that was almost physical that she was watching a man discover the limits of who he was. The limits were here, right here, this close to her and no closer. 3 days later, they told her to leave. She packed her bag. She carried her suitcase to the gate. The rain found her there, 5 months pregnant, alone, with a suitcase in a puddle and Chinedu at the door, saying nothing. She walked. The months that followed were the hardest of her life. She found a single room in Abakba. She worked in a small restaurant, washing dishes and cleaning tables from early morning until the evening rush. The owner, Mama Ifi, asked no unnecessary questions, paid on time, and saved her food from the afternoon service. That small kindness held Amara together when falling apart would have been understandable. Her mother died 3 months later. Amara received the news by phone, outside the restaurant before her morning shift. She sat down on the ground where she was, phone in her hand, morning sun just beginning to warm the air, and understood that the person who had loved her the longest was gone. David was born on a Tuesday morning, 6 pounds 4 ounces, loud from his first breath. She had been afraid she would love him and resent the circumstances of his arrival. That fear dissolved the moment she held him. She named him David, after the man in the Bible who faced impossible things and survived them through faith and stubbornness, and the specific grace that falls on people who keep going when they have every reason to stop. She went back to work 8 weeks later. She sold fruits on weekends. She cleaned offices in the evenings. She sent money home for her siblings' school fees and sometimes ate very little herself to make the numbers work. 2 years passed, grinding, relentless, forward. Then a man named Chief Eze walked into the restaurant on a Thursday afternoon, ordered pepper soup and rice, and while he ate, he watched her work. He came back the following Thursday and the Thursday after that. On his 4th visit, he asked her name. He asked who taught her to manage a floor like that. She said nobody. She just paid attention. He smiled. He said that was rarer than she thought. 3 months later, he offered her a job managing a new catering branch in Independence Layout. She said yes before he finished the sentence. Sales tripled in 6 months. He gave her a second branch, then a third. He brought her into his office and taught her accounting, cash flow, negotiation, investment. He taught her the way mentors teach when they have found someone worth teaching, in real situations, in real time, with real consequences. Within 2 years, she was managing 7 branches. When Chief Eze retired, he sold her a controlling stake at a price that honored what she had built. She signed the papers with hands that did not shake, though her heart was moving very fast. 1 business became 3. 3 became 7. She won government catering contracts. She hired well. She reinvested everything. Money followed. Success followed. Respect followed. She never forgot the rainy evening at that gate. She did not carry the memory with bitterness. Bitterness would have made it too heavy. She carried it as fuel, as proof of what she had survived, as the reason she never once, in the worst moment of building the business, considered giving up. Meanwhile, the Okeke family was falling. Bad investments, fraud, collapsed businesses, debts that accumulated faster than they could be paid. The mansion in GRA, that 3-floor cream-colored symbol of everything they believed themselves to be, was mortgaged, then remortgaged, then taken by the bank. It went to auction. Amara's accountant flagged it as a prime acquisition. When she saw the address, She sat very still for a long moment. She knew every corner of that compound. She knew which tiles in the kitchen were uneven. She knew which step on the back staircase made a sound. She told her accountant to bid. He asked how high she was willing to go. She said whatever it takes. She did not attend the auction. She stayed in her office. When her accountant called to confirm the property was hers, she said thank you quietly and ended the call. She sat alone for 15 minutes. She did not celebrate. She did not cry. She simply sat with the weight of the moment and let it settle. She wore her cream suit on the day she went back. She took David with her. The gate was open. The workers stopped when the SUV came through. The guard straightened. The gardener removed his cap. And then Mrs. Okeke appeared. She looked older than 5 years should have made her. The gold kaftan was gone. She wore a plain wrapper and flat slippers and the expression of someone who has spent a long time being humbled and has not yet found peace with it. Amara gave her 72 hours to remove her belongings. She reminded her of every word she had spoken at that gate 5 years ago. Mrs. Okeke had nothing left to say. Amara took David's hand and walked into the house that was now hers. A week later, Chinedu came to her office. He looked like someone life had walked on. He sat across from her and said he was sorry, that he had been weak, that he had loved her and chosen wrong and had known it every single day since. She told him the truth, that it was not his parents that broke her, not the insults, not the rain. It was watching him stand at that door and choose silence, because he was the one person she had believed would not do that. He received every word without looking away. Then the door opened and Chinedu ran in. School uniform, backpack bouncing, 5 years old and full of energy. He saw the stranger and looked at him with the particular curiosity of a child who has not yet learned to pretend. Who is he? Amara looked at Chinedu, then at her son. She could choose bitterness. She could choose the closed door. Nobody would blame her. But this was not about Chinedu. This was about David. She knelt beside her son and looked him in the eyes. She said, "This is your father." David crossed the room and extended his small hand with the particular formality of a child who has been taught good manners. "Hello." Chinedu took the hand. 5 years of guilt arrived at once. "Hello, son," he said. His voice broke on the last word. The people who threw her out had never controlled her destiny. They had only controlled a chapter, and that chapter was closed now. The rest of the story, the real one, the long one, the one still being written, was hers, entirely, completely, and forever hers. If you were Amara, would you have let Chinedu meet David, or would you have walked out and never looked back? Drop your answer in the comment. We want to hear from you. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it today. And drop a comment. We want to hear from you. God bless you.